Parents of Reddit, what secret do you know about your kids that they don't know that you know? My 9-year-old son has started to search for girls taking jeans off on YouTube. I also found out he has a type by his latest search of brown girls taking jeans off. As a little girl, I'd always be fast asleep when we pulled into our driveway late at night. After being out as a family, my father would unbuckle me and scoop me up to bring me inside. By the time I was 5, I was often awake when we pulled in, but I'd pretend to be asleep because I loved the comfort of being pulled into my dad's arms and whisked into the house. Once, when I was probably near 6 years old, my dad did his ritual extraction of the kid from the back seat and he leaned over and whispered tenderly in my ear, "I know what you're doing. And this is the last time." I know my kid has a Reddit account. Discovered it when I tried to create a sub about a very specific thing he has created, and I wanted to document/archive all of his creations there for him to see a few years in the future. Turned out it already existed. Went through his post/comment history. He's such a naive and good boy. Couldn't be prouder. Always asking questions and helping out people. Gave him gold. Never told him. Whenever me and my wife speak about Reddit stuff he says wish I could have an account or I have never been there. How is it like? Or that sounds boring. He's got more karma than me. I found condoms in my daughter's bedroom when she was 15. I didn't know she had a peen until then. My 5-year-old daughter won't tell me the name of her boyfriend at YMCA day camp because it's a secret. But I know the kid's name is Jordan. The camp counselor told me. My son smokes weed in the attic at night, which has a vent that goes right to our bedroom. After many searches as a 12-year-old boy on my family's computer, my dad called me over one day and says, "Rednaxxla, this is how you clear the internet search history. No other words. Just a quick how to." 5-year-old son really likes to feel water running over his junk. I act like I never seen it. My 19-year-old son thinks I don't know he smokes weed. LMFAO child please. You cannot fool a master. My toddler thinks he fools me when he pretends to be asleep. I see that smile with your eyes squinted closed, young man. I found the box of Girl Guide cookies that my 8-year-old daughter had taken from our pantry and put in one of her toy boxes. I didn't give her crap about it, just took them back and ate them all. My toddler has a secret hiding spot in the corner. When she thinks I'm not looking, she'll hide snacks there and then ask for more so she can have extra crackers. It's hilarious, but I can already tell she's going to be a handful. My mom recently broke the news that I wasn't as sneaky as I thought I was in high school. She knew that my girlfriend was giving me a handy under the blankets during family movie night. My now 16 years old bought a fleshlight and lube. I know every time my 10-year-old tells me she brushed her teeth, but didn't and she just rubbed toothpaste in her mouth to make it smell like she did. I know my 16-year-old is having sex. I didn't put her on birth control to help with period cramps and acne. Maybe she knows I lied there too. I know my son had sex in my car after I found a condom wrapper in it, right after he was nice enough to give his sister's friend a ride home. That my 5-year-old knows how to get in the Oreo jar every night after bedtime. He grabs one for his little brother. He also checked with me to make sure it don't count the Oreos before I put them in the jar. My parents always knew when my siblings would sneak out, and we could never figure out how they knew. One time my brother was an idiot and got caught sneaking out of a window from our basement. It was winter. They left footprints. Every sleepover we had, my mom would take a picture of everyone's shoes that night before bed. If they had changed overnight, she knew they snuck out. She would only tell us once we'd all moved out. My daughter's fake Instagram account. She's a good kid and this is her way of being edgy, so I don't see any reason to bring it up with her. My son thinks his bedwetting episodes were a secret between his mom and himself. Fact is, I was aware of it every time. I know that my nephew is gay. I don't know if my sister knows yet, but I know. There's this sock under the bed. Not parent, but older sister. My little sister is 10 years younger than me. When she was in about 6th grade, she'd invite the neighbor over and they'd use my mom's laptop after she went to bed. Mom checked her browsing history one day and there were pages and pages of sub-searches of really specific stuff. Favorite was probably Amazing World of Gumball 30th. She isn't really crying because she misses her orange plastic dinosaur that was lost a year ago. She's crying because she's tired and doesn't want to admit it. But we always have a very serious conversation about the impermanence of material items. I once checked the internet history after my son finished using the family iPad. He had searched boobies. I decided to follow his search. It led to a Wikipedia on blue-footed booby birds. I wish I could have seen his confused and disappointed look. Not a parent, but I'm an uncle. My nephew seems to believe that I can't tell if he's crying for real or not. It's actually pretty funny. My nearly 2-year-old son seems to love the rewarding experience of finding a lost toy together with either me or his mum. We'll hear from the other room, oh, then a pause, some rummaging, and then we're, for example, Thomas gone. He'll sound more and more concerned before coming in and asking daddy or mummy, see Thomas, basically asking us to help him, which of course we do, and usually find it with him. What he doesn't know is that we both know he spends a couple of minutes at the start of each day hiding a couple of his toys around the lounge, leaves it a while, and then pretends they're lost. What we don't know is whether or not he can actually remember where he hid them. I assume he can't, and so must applaud his initiative in creating a genuine problem to overcome together. Now I'm scared about what my parents might know about me. Mom of 5. Here's a partial list. That large doll had other uses. It wasn't really a mistake when your brother fell from the treehouse. I can, in fact, hear you. Yes, you were crying because you got caught, not because you felt bad for doing wrong. You're not really gay, but as the youngest, you had to try harder to shock me. So much. Marijuana. That cat didn't run away from home. You were trying to protect me from finding out it got hit by your friend's car. You're way more political than you tell me. I know your Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit usernames, all of them. I know my 3-year-old daughter wakes up every morning, finds my stash of blue raspberry bonbons, and eats one before breakfast. My 19-year-old still doesn't swear in front of us. Tells us she doesn't talk like that. She pocket dialed me the other day, and I heard her drop some F-bombs. It was hilarious. Still haven't told her. Older brother here. Yes, Daniel. I know you mad into the neighbor's yard from the top of the tree. Once my older brother spent 10 minutes trying to show me how to open the door just right so it wouldn't make a sound and you could sneak out to smoke weed without our parents knowing. He didn't believe me when I told him they knew. So at dinner I said, hey dad, you know Jeff smokes in the backyard, right? He laughed and said yeah. He sneaks through the garage. My 9-year-old curses like a sailor. Has never slipped around me, but when he's in his room I'll hear thud, or crap, or my personal favorite, I slap freaking slap hate slap ants when an ant trail found its way through a crack in his window frame. One of my best friends, in high school, his mom figured out he was using the good olive oil to jerk off, breaking from the post motif. However, she confronted him and politely asked that he used literally any of the lotions in the bathroom instead, since they were cheaper to replace. I love that woman to death and back. If my son finds out about this comment he will be mortified. I will probably have to delete it at some point. My youngest son at age 13 would take lingerie out of my dresser drawer, put it on, and wear it in the shower to wank. I don't use my lingerie, but noticed it in the laundry. My husband approached him and bought him some cheap lingerie for him to keep in his room. To this day he has no clue I know all about it. Edited to address some common questions. 1. This was not recent. My kids are older now. 2. It happened during puberty because he liked the feel of warm silk. It was for tactile pleasure. And yes, he admitted to wearing it sometimes to free up his hands. Enjoy that mental picture. 3. He got caught because he was leaving the wet lingerie in the laundry. Husband does all the laundry and I fold. I didn't know it was showing up wet, so at first I thought my cat was getting into my drawer. Hubby suspected it was one of the boys and confronted them until youngest fessed up. My father caught myself and my ex having sex. I lived in a bungalow at the time and the driveway was next to my bedroom. I didn't realize at the time that I hadn't closed the curtains fully. Mid-pump I heard a beep outside. We both rushed to get dressed, and a few minutes later my dad strolls in like nothing had happened. I assumed he accidentally hit the horn when pulling up. Only years later he told me he saw my ass going up and down. Beeped the horn quickly and delayed coming in to give us chance to get sorted. While changing the sheets in my then 10 years old, he's now 12, son's bed, when I pulled off the fitted sheet a folded up piece of paper fell out. I picked it up and unfolded it. Drawings of boobs. Just boobs. Big ones. Small ones. Giant ones. All with little dot nipples. I chuckle and tuck it back in. Then my hand feels more folded papers. I pull one out, expecting to find more boobies. Nope. They were peens. I laugh and put it back with the rest, and continue on about my day. He gets home from school and talks about his day and school life. I ask what he did in free period, and he says nothing. Just drew and played games with my friends. I tell him I changed and washed his sheets. He stops what he's doing, looks at me to see if I'm going to say or mention anything about his artwork. When I say nothing more, smiles and says thanks mom. All the while he's going through his backpack's outside pocket. He pulls out 3 folded pieces of paper and shoves them into his pant pockets. Says he going to go change and takes off to his room. I know that she has days when having a disabled parent makes her thoroughly miserable. No matter how much she tries to hide it. I see it and see you kiddo. I know the difference when you are miserable and when you are genuinely happy. You know you can always talk to me. So when you are ready, I'll still be here with a hug and a cup of cocoa. When I was about 8 or 9, I hated corn and would only eat it if it was on the cob. After months of shoveling loose corn into my pockets at the dinner table and burying it inside of the I can't finish any more mashed potatoes, my mother had confronted me. I went to go to the bathroom to empty my pockets into the toilet immediately after dinner, as I always did when we had canned corn. And my mom goes, stop right there. I was turning the hallway corner to go into the bathroom and I remember literally freezing like it was a game of red light, green light, and she walks over and she goes, can you do me a favor and empty your pockets? And all I heard was my dad chuckling from the kitchen. Mom wasn't too pleased. My 2 adult daughters suddenly and simultaneously became interested in old family photos, particularly of themselves at various stages of childhood. Turns out they'd both decided they wanted to make extra money selling their eggs, but they needed to include a portfolio of pictures with their application form. My toddler thinks she's invincible when she hides behind the curtains or inside her closet. Our curtains are not that thick, and we usually hear giggling from the closet. We usually pretend we can't see her and wonder out loud where she could possibly be. This thread is either A, masturbation, or B, my toddler does this really cute thing. I know that my parents know about my sex toys. At first I left them in an obvious drawer under my bed that my mom would see into every time she washed my bed sheets and pillowcases. This way she knows about them and knows that I know she knows. Now she respects my privacy by letting me do my own laundry while I stockpile toys under my bed. To Clairfy, 3 toys. 2 bad dragon toys, 1 fleshlight, a whole load of different lubes and condoms, to collars, robe, floggerette set, batteries and other paraphernalia. Cool. My highest rated comments on Reddit are about my toy stash and my more romantic high school relationship. I think there's a trend here. Note to all young males. Cum smells. Those rags you put in the trash or under your bed smell. Even your unwashed peen could smell if your area is warm and humid enough. You can't smell it because it is constant in your area. Others can. I noticed this for the first time when entering a friend's room when I was about 16. I knew the smell, and it was fairly prominent. From that point on I was aware of it, and I noticed it in many more situations. Sometimes it was my own fault. Even clean up. My son had a pet caterpillar that he let walk all over his peen and got an infection. He said it happened in the middle of the night when he was sleeping, but we know it happened because he liked it. Sigh. Edit. Reaction not infection. It wasn't too serious, but he was horrified. My daughter peed in bed last night. Her sister did not. In fact, put on her pajamas and sneak into her bed to pee in an overly convoluted plot to frame her. Not a parent, but when I was a teenager I used to write bad poetry. I mean really bad poetry. The broken heart nobody could ever understand me kind of poetry. I kept them to myself and didn't share them. Fast forward 23 years, and I'm helping mom clean out my childhood home, and I come across the entire stack of bad poems tucked away deep in an old box of my stuff. They're freaking terrible and deeply personal. I'm a grown man and I've got this stack of papers in my hand that makes me feel 15 years old again. The bad part of 15, the awkward, lack of confidence part of 15, the holy crap I'm glad I never have to feel that way again part of 15. I actually try to sneak these papers past my mom to burn them immediately outside. She sees them and asks me what I'm doing. I tell her it's just some stuff I wrote as a kid and I'm going to burn it quick as it's personal and I don't want anyone to read it. She says your poems. Yeah, I really worried about you when I read them. Damn it, mom. We know where you hide your candy and that there's a nauseating amount there. We also know that you sneak in a Laffy Taffy or 6 when we are busy with something else. CTRLF. BJ in back of car. Woo. Nope. I'm good. Somehow my parents just knew what I was up to in my locked room for hours at a time. I have no idea how they did it. It seems that a majority of kids think they are the virgin birth and their parents know nothing about sex. I know you never wash your hands after using the bathroom. Unless we remind you. I heard my 10-year-old nephew yelling at his little brothers because they were threatening to tell their mom that he kissed a girl behind the dumpsters at the pool. At bedtime, my 2-year-old daughter gets right into bed, snuggles in, closes her eyes, and feigns sleep by making loud and dramatic snoring sounds. We think it's funny, so we go along with it. As soon as we are downstairs, we hear her singing to herself, dancing, playing with her My Little Pony, or flipping through books. That's why she's always in bed an hour early. It's also why one of us sits on the top step, just out of sight every night. It's worth it for the nights she manages not to wake at 4 AM from teething. I know that my daughter knows that Santa doesn't exist. She still plays me every Christmas for what she wants from Santa. My boy has a tablet, he's 9, and he does the it thing. He started showing me this dance crew. I'm genuinely interested, and I was like, oh maybe they have a page. So I clicked to do a search and there it is. Girls naked, girls dancing naked, all the things you would think. As a 28-year-old man I just smiled and said, oh guess they don't have a page, oh well, and have gave him his tablet. Funny thing was he was trying to cover it up by sliding in other searches, but they were like one in one. So it's be like girls, nerf, gun, girls, kissing, church, music. I respected the boy. He's growing up much too quickly cause I find him looking street the same girls I do. His mom hates it. Message for kids still in school, especially adolescents. You don't know how loud you are. Even if you think you're whispering, you're probably not. Teachers hear way more than you'd probably be comfortable with, and definitely more than we are comfortable with. They smoke weed. I've found weed multiple times, and when I've asked them what it is they've told me just tobacco. So once I threw away $50 worth of weed because they told me it was tobacco. I knew it wasn't and tried to make them tell me it was weed, and they said it was my uncle's and they were just looking after it. I know my nephew's dated a few girls. Cannot blame him for not telling us. Slipped it into a convo that I don't introduce anyone I'm dating to family unless I think it's going to be a long-term thing. He seemed relieved. Think I gave him confirmation as secret was fine to keep secret. Not a parent, but an older brother. Walked into my little bro watching Overwatch 30 on my computer. Played dumb then deleted all the history. Next time he asked to get on my computer I explained incognito to him and told him I don't care as long as I never have to clear that crap out of my history again. My knowledge about my parent. My mom stole my stash when I was a teenager. Then she helped me look for my missing bag of loose/ground tea leaves. She knew we were looking for weed. She had smoked it. I knew she had smoked it and was just hoping to find more. My knowledge about my kids. Oldest, 14, Wanks a lot to the extent that it makes sharing a bathroom with her difficult for her siblings. Middle, 13, is hiding her interest in boys badly. Third kid, 7, can jailbreak devices, so passwords really don't mean crap to her. I have a terrible sense of smell, so I didn't know this until well into adulthood, but semen has a smell to it, and it's totally detectable in a room. Edit, just to ease some people's minds. I'm told that it doesn't last that long, and isn't super strong. Disposing of it helps. Don't keep a cum box. Flush the evidence. Crack a window and you'll be fine. So not a parent, but a 17-year-old kid. But dear parents, you're not slick sneaking in sex toys. You're louder than my squeaky futon and Mrs. Righty. And mom, you left your vibrator right next to the batteries. Please move it. I just need batteries for the TV remote. Not a parent, but when I was a little girl in elementary school I used to try to climb the fire pole without using my arms. Dozens of adults must have noticed and known what I was up to. To be fair though, I had no idea I was wanking. She's not actually a kitty named Autumn. She's 3, so her secrets don't go very far. My little brother was about 12 years old and searched bald pussy. Saw nothing but shaved house cats. Funniest crap ever. Rest easy little brother, I love you. My 10-month-old intentionally acts like he's going to fall off the bed or the couch just to be picked up. I know that my teen daughter is gay. I honestly don't care in the slightest one way or the other. I figure she will tell me when she is ready. My 14-year-old left his phone at home recently. I never felt the need to scroll through it, but I figured I should, just to make sure things were good with everything. One of his best friends was telling him that she stole some of her sister's weed stash and was wondering if he wanted to come over the next day and smoke it with her. His response was no thanks, and I don't think you should do it either. I was so proud of him. I wanted to give him a big hug and tell him how proud I was, but I didn't want him to know I was looking at his stuff. So instead I decided we would do a surprise ice cream trip, and when he asked for a double scoop I said yes. I know in the grand scheme of things a little weed isn't bad, and I know at some point in his life he'll try it, but I'm not ready for him to do that kind of stuff yet. I know my 4-year-old crap talks me to her stuffed animals when I send her to her room. I know she's not really sleeping when she's jumping all over the room screaming run puppy, the shark is coming, in the middle of the night. I also know she's drawing pictures on the bottom of the table when no one is looking. Daughter, yes mom and dad, I know you use whips in bed. You're gross and please keep that crap hidden when I come in to borrow mom's jewelry. I got a handy and OBJ from my long-term girlfriend in the backseat of a car my parents were driving when I was 15. In great parent fashion, my parents waited until we got to the destination, and after my girlfriend left the car, my mom turned around and said in a very stern voice, "Don't you ever disrespect us like that again. We aren't idiots." As a parent now, I look at that event as a kind gesture, all things considered. I mean, don't slut shame the girl. They knew I was probably the more adventurous of the two and got her to do it. And really, what can you do? Beat the crap out of them for being oversexed teens? They never mentioned it to my girlfriend who I dated for 2 more years, and I never did either. My own 4 kids tried some similar things, but never as audacious as that. And I called them out on it afterward too, knowing how I would have reacted. My dad was embarrassed, but probably slightly proud too, in a my boy is becoming a man way. My kid craps in his pants on purpose. I know this because he laughs maniacally when I'm not looking. She's all grown up now, in her 40s, and doesn't know that I know she was sexually assaulted by her marching band instructor when she was in her 20s. I quietly laid the groundwork that led to his termination shortly after she graduated. A fake. She is blissfully unaware that I intervened. Oh, she knows about this. Once I was working at a remote office and needed something from my home computer, so I logged in, and my young teen daughter was on my computer at the time. Loud Anam Goofy 30 popped up immediately. She and her friends were sending each other the grossest crap imaginable. I booted her off right away, and that evening I told her, you know, when it's okay to look at sci stuff on the computer, when it's your own private computer, Dumbus. Okay, I didn't actually call her a dumbus to her face. But seriously, don't be a dumbus. I know that my kid browses Reddit. Found a coconut under his bed. My 13-year-old practically advertises that he's going to the bathroom. But he doesn't go number 1 or number 2. I always make him wash his hands when he's done. I'm an older brother and share a room w/younger by 2-year brother. Walk in having to grab pants. FaceTiming naked GF. Acts asleep. She didn't know that. I heard things. Nope the frick out of there. That when my daughter hides behind her fingers I know she's still there. Kid thinks I can't see her. Whatever it is, the trick is to not let them know that you know. If you confront them, they will only get more sneaky in the future. Set up an improbable situation that has them catch themselves in the act. My kids are horrible liars as a result. My son is 4. He still thinks he is invisible when he covers himself with a blanket. Our whole family has made a pact to act like he is. Things should be interesting in a few years. My sister smokes weed, but only does it in the bathroom so all her kids think the weed smell is actually her crap. That I see where they are wiping their budgers. When I was a kid, I used to pretend I couldn't sleep without the TV on. Really, I just wanted to stay up an extra hour so I could watch my 2 favorite shows, X-Men Evolutions and Justice League. I thought I was so clever. Recently I brought it up with my mom, and she said I know. That's why I always set your bedtime an hour before I actually wanted you to be asleep. I was absolutely shook. Commenting so I can find out if my parents know something. I know that they've been making slime again. I checked out my son's last Google searches on his tablet. He is called Felix and his sister is Sashkia. They were. I hate Sashkia. Phoenix wings. Felix wins. Not a parent, but a kid. When I was 12 and I was just getting into rock climbing, my dad, who was a fairly good climber, doing V4 and V5s easily while I struggled with V3s, saw that I was losing some of my confidence because I was having a hard time getting into the V3 range. One day he took me to the climbing center and did his warm up, a V3, and made it to the top, except he didn't. On the last move he fell. I was shocked. He shook his head, looked at me, and told me to try it myself. I did it on the first try. It boosted my confidence. It was only a few days ago, I'm 18 now, that I found out he was faked the fall to help me understand that everyone fails. I still climb to this day now doing V5s upward on the regular. I know my nephew is gay. My daughter came out as a lesbian and a Christian the same day. The Christian part was hard on me as an atheist. I'm just glad she told me, on both counts, because respecting her orientation and religious beliefs are very important to me. So now I take her to church and vacation Bible school. I don't care who she brings home eventually, as long as they can also respect her. My other kids are too young to have any real secrets yet, but I know that they definitely dumped all the cat litter out onto the floor. Jerks. That when my daughter was 5 or 6 years old, she would look up videos of dogs throwing up or stallions taking a piss based on her YouTube history. I never directly spoke to her about this, but have always told her that she can always talk to me about any questions she had about any subject with no judgment from me. She's 14 now, and I still haven't said a word. I'm 34 and my mom won't tell me what my tell is when I lie. Come on. I'm 34. Just tell me. I only lie when you buy me something I sorta don't like, but I'll wear B/C you bought it for me. Maybe, kinda, maybe it'll just sit in my closet forever.